Hi everybody. So Michelle here, and one of the biggest requests that I've been getting is people asking me, Michelle, can you please make a video showing the Zig Zag scarf? And again, this is a video based on a pattern that I found that there was no video for it. I'm able to read patterns pretty easily, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that are very visually educated as well. So that's the reason why I make some of the videos. So for this video here, I'm going to show you guys how to do the zigzag scarf. It works up really quick. And it's really easy to do. If you're familiar with the 10 stitch blanket, it's kind of the same technique, a little different, but you'll get the hang of it really quick. And again, it works up really quickly, and you can knock a few of them out right away. So this one here that I have in the video, I am just about done with this one. I'm going to use this to show you guys how to bind off. So for now, we're going to put this aside. And for that one, as you saw, I love my oval looms for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can use number 4 worsted weight yarn with no problem on these because it is a smaller gauge. So because I'm already utilizing that one for the one that I'm going to get started on and showing you guys, I am using the KB loom that's about the same gauge. That's one of the premium looms in the 3-piece set. And for that other one that I just showed you that I'm working on, you can actually use one whole skein. I'm using the Red Heart Super Saver in stripes. This one is really spring colorful. I'm making this for a craft fair, spring craft fair that's going to be coming up. So, and there's the color, retro stripe. And as you can see, again, very Easter pastel springy colors. Okay, so one skein. Again, this is a number 4 worsted weight yarn. And one skein is 236 yards. So it's going to be nice and long. You can get a good wraparound once we're done with it. And with this one, I always use 10 pegs, but if you want it wider, especially with you know, a thinner yarn like this, you can go wider, you can go thinner. I like to go thinner with the ones that I'm doing right now with this kind of yarn for the spring, because it is a nice lightweight spring yarn. So for me, I always grab from the center, makes it a whole lot easier. And we're going to start by making a simple slip knot. Okay, sorry for the nail. I got an owie today. All right, so we're going to actually, to cast on, I almost forgot. We're going to do what they call a crochet cast on. And there's a couple of ways that you can mark your loom. One of the ways that I like to do it, just so I know where I am, I'm grabbing it right now, is I like to get a small rubber band. Okay, just simple rainbow loom rubber bands, nothing spectacular or anything like that. And then I count out 10. So because there's no starting peg on these looms, I just start counting from 1. So I'm going to use this as my first peg right there. So then this would be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so in case you missed that, you're going to start counting at the one next to the one that you marked. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so I put that right there just to kind of remind me where my 10 is. Then you make a nice big hole with your slip knot. Okay, and you start over here for your first peg, and you just go 10. So to do this, what I do is, here's my hole right here. I drop it through, and I bring the working yarn in like that. I like to start a lot of my scarves like this because you have the same consistency at the start and on your cast off. So that way, you know, you don't have one that's bound off really tight and then it just looks weird. Okay, so we're going to keep doing that cast on. You're going to go over and you're going to bring it through. Okay, over and through. And you're going to do 10 or however many you want to go wide. Okay. For me, for this one, I'm going to do 10 because again, I want a nice lightweight spring scarf, but it's really all up to your preference. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, 7, 8. Make sure you pull it kind of tight. 9. And for the last one, you don't have to pull it around. You could just drop that hoop right through the center of that one. And there you go. You're cast on all 10. Okay. So with this, like I had mentioned earlier, it's very similar to 10 stitch blankets. If you've ever done a 10 stitch blanket, you'll get this really quick. If you haven't, then once you do this, if you decide that you want to do a 10 stitch blanket, you got it in the bag. So what you're going to do is come around this first one here, and you're just going to knit it off. We're just going to use a simple garter stitch where you're going to knit and purl. Okay. So that's your first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit and then we purl back. So simple garter stitch. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to E-wrap, knit off, E-wrap, knit off. Come on, work with me. There we go. E-wrap. And you're going to do this all the way to the end. And this is going to create our first section of, I guess you can call it the zig. Oops. There we go. And again, I'm sorry this is a little awkward for me because I have the camera between my arms. So I'm trying to make it not so awkward. All right. Hi, Mega May. So on this first one, we're not knitting it off. We're just taking it from behind. We have your working thread behind. We're wrapping it around. And I'm ambidextrous, so I switch hands. And we're just bringing it to the front. So this first one should have two threads on it, two pieces of yarn on it. Okay. Then we're going to purl all the way back. So this is why I said it's very similar to the 10 stitch blanket. So again, this first one has 2. Then we're going to purl all the way to the back. Come on. There we go. And again, sorry this is so awkward because I have it between my arms. So I'm trying to do the best I can. And then once you get back to the beginning, then we just knit back, but then we just go back and forth, increasing and decreasing, just like the 10 stitch. That's why this was so easy for me to pick up on, because I've already made a couple of 10 stitches. Come on, there we go. Sorry, my cat's over on the cat tree right now. There we go. Now at this first one, I haven't done anything with it yet. We don't purl that. What we do is we do a wrap and turn. So we're going to wrap, turn, and knit it off. Okay. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to knit all the way up here, and we're going to create, so we're going to skip this first one obviously, and we're just going to go to this one here, which is the second one in. Okay, so we're going to E-wrap all the way back. Come on. There we go. And I will have a link to the actual pattern that I had found for this. And I had messaged the writer, but I never heard back from them. But I am giving them credit because I did want to make this video after so many people had messaged me and said, hey, Michelle, you make these zigzag scarves look so easy. Can you please help me out? Because I'm not a good pattern reader. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. All right. So we're back up to the beginning. This was the first one that we knitted off. This one, we're just going to turn. And again, we're going to leave 2 on this one. And that is basically it. What you're going to do is just continue doing that until all 10 of these, actually, 8 of them. The first one, when we get to it, you'll understand. Once you have 2 on all of these, you're going to purl all the way back and then knit up to this one. Then you're going to purl all the way back and then knit up to this one, purl all the way back. Once you get to this point, I will see you back here. All right, everybody, welcome back. And as you can see here, all of these have 2, and these last 2 I saved so I can show you this. So when you get down to these last 2, what you're going to do is on this one here, you're going to wrap it, keep it on there like that. Don't bind it off yet. Knit this off, up and over, squish it down a little bit. Then you're going to wrap this one, come around that one almost like a figure 8, and then knit that off. Okay, so that is your first part, and what it should look like on the inside is like a little triangle. Okay, so that's the first part of your zig. Okay, so again, you're just going this first row, you're going this way, and a lot of you are probably wondering, like, what is the rubber band for? This is a marker for me because I don't know about you, but I have family. I get distracted, the phone rings, I work from home, so sometimes I have to run to my desk, whatever the case may be. This helps me remember what direction I was going in. If I have to put my work down and then I come back and go, oh crap, which way was I going? We've all done that. And then when we get to a later point in it, we look back and go, oh. So this helps me relieve those moments. Okay. So now that we have this first part done, what we're going to do is we're just going to start working back, and this was basically our increase. Now we're going to go back and we're going to do our decrease, or what I like to refer to as the zig part. So here we're still going to knit off in this direction, purl in this direction. Okay, so we're going to knit off this first one, and you're going to carry both of them up and over. Let me grab it. Again, it's a little awkward for me like this. Okay, there we go. And then wrap this first one. Okay, you're going to E-wrap this one that you already did, and then go to the second one and knit both of those off. But now we're going to purl and then we always wrap this first one. We never purl the first here and the first here. Okay, those are always turn and wraps. Okay, so knit that one off. E-wrap, knit off, E-wrap, knit off, E-wrap, and you have 2, knit those off, and then you come between the one that you just knitted off and this one, and then you purl back. So you'll notice, I'm going to get this a little closer so you can see. You'll notice that it looks like you have 2 lumps right here. That's fine because that will all work itself in. Okay, so after you've knitted those 2 off, don't purl the one that you just knitted off. You're going to purl the one to the right of that. Okay, so purl off. Come on, there we go. So you're going to repeat this all the way to the very start point where you have your rubber band. So go ahead and continue working, and when you get to this point here where it's the last one, come on back. All right, so as you can see, I have 1 on each of these, and I'm down to this last one. So again, on your last ones, no matter what, whether you have 2 on there or whether you have 1 on there, we never purl those off. Those are always turn and wrap spots. Okay, so for this one, what we're going to do is wrap it, knit it off, and as you'll see, we have our one first triangle that we started with. That's, let me show you here. Okay, so there's our first triangle. Now here's our second. Okay, so here's our first zig, and then how to do the second part of this, which is super easy. You're going to do the same thing you did where you came all the way, wrapped all the way down here and had each of them have 2, but now we're going to work this way, and we're going to start making it where there's 2 all the way here. So we just wrapped off that first one, and again, we don't ever go behind it. We always stay in front. And then we purl all the way back. And this is where the rubber band comes into play. So we're gonna, it's so difficult for me with this camera between my arms like this. And I usually do it on my lap, not on a table like this. But I'm trying to make it easy as possible for everybody to see this. Come on, there we go. All right, so once we get to the first one, you'll see what I was talking about with the rubber band and how it keeps me from having my moments and forgetting which direction, because there was a few of them that I had to end up not frogging completely, but going back a good amount, because I'm like a good way through it, and then I realized, oh goodness, I forgot to turn and do it in the other direction. Okay, so now we're back to the first one, and again, we're just going to turn and wrap. We're not going to knit this one off, because again, we have to do our doubles like we did going in this direction when we went to the left. Now we're going to make them to the right. So this is going to be our first one, and then we just E-wrap and go all the way back. Okay. So it's the same exact thing. And then the rubber band helps me. What I do is when I know that I'm bringing everything into this direction, I put the rubber band here. When I know I'm bringing everything into that direction, then I put it over here where it is, which is why I put it there when we start. Because I know a lot of you are like, what? So there we go. And then that helps me if I have to walk away or something and I come back, instead of going, okay, so was this my first one or was this my last one? I know that I'm double wrapping everything to this side. So I'm working going this direction. You don't have to do that. That's just easy for me to remember. It's totally up to you. Okay. So we're going to just basically do the same exact thing we did. Remember, you E-wrap going to the left, purl going to the right, and what we'll do is I will pause it here. I want you to continue working, and again at the last one, what do we do? Turn, and we turn, knit it, and then we purl all the way back. Okay. And you're just going to continue this until all of these are double wrapped to look like this one here. So I'll do this one and then I'll pause it. I'll let you continue. So turn, don't knit it off. Okay. And then E-wrap the one to the left of it. And there you go. So go ahead and continue doing that, and let's meet back when we're down to this second one in where it's wrapped, and then we'll continue from there. Alrighty, so now everybody should have 2, and I saved this last one, 2 going all the way over this way. Okay, now for this last one, what you're going to do is just a figure 8. You're going to wrap that one, come back, wrap this one, and then knit it off if I can get it. There we go. Okay, and knit that off, and then you're just going to repeat the same thing. So you're going to start taking all the 2s off. So on this way, you know, we purl. So you're going to grab both of those and purl them off. Then you're going to go back to this one, turn and wrap, knit it off. Remember, only knit the ends, and then you're going to go forward. Okay, purl, with the second one, purl, and then turn around, knit, knit, and then again with every turn you're just going to go to the next one and then work your way back, and then out to the next one and work your way back until all of them have just one on them. And then you're just going to do the same thing at this point. So then you would continue doing that, and then once all these are single and you do this last one and you come back, that's when you wrap this one and then start going back this way. So it's just a back and forth. And that's why I said I use the rubber band, because it helps me keep track of what direction I'm going. Okay, so go ahead and finish this purl set here and then meet me back here and I'll show you guys how to do your bind off. All right, so now that we are single all the way back, the last one I purposely left so I can show you guys again how to do off the end. The end, remember, we only turn and wrap and knit off on the ends. Okay, now you're just going to repeat the process going back in this direction. All right, what I usually do is once I get to that first one, that's when I move my rubber band. So we're going to knit all the way back to the very first one and then double wrap, where we turn and wrap and leave 2 pieces of yarn on there. And like I said, once you get the hang of this, it works up super quick. And this is a smaller gauge loom, so of course it looks really thin as far as the thickness of, you know, how wide it is. You can do them on these smaller looms, you can do them any. I always say 10. You could do whatever you like. So if you want to do it double the width and do 20, do 20. If you want to do 10, do 10. It's totally up to you. And you can do these in any weight yarn. Obviously, if you go with a thicker yarn like bulky or super bulky, you want to use one of the bigger looms that have a larger gauge. Okay, so now that we're back to the first one, all we do, turn and wrap, and switch hands, and then you just start working the same direction back where these are 2, all the way back. And you're just going to repeat that process back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then this is where I move my rubber band, so that way if I have to get up and walk away, if I have to get something to drink, if I have to answer the phone, if I have to, you know, be distracted by adorable animals like these guys who are so hard at work, then I know when I come back to this, I know where I'm at. Okay, so I'm going to put this one aside and I'm going to grab the one that I am working on that I'm almost finished, and show you guys how to do the bind off. And the bind off on these are super simple. If you are familiar with my dragon tail video or the potato chip scarf, I try to do my bind offs all the same way because it doesn't squish them together when you know, knit off and then carry back, and it always makes them too tight and kind of scrunchy. So for this one, I personally like to bind them off when there's 2 on here. It gives it a little more reinforcement. Okay, so I'm going to grab my nifty needle. There we go. Okay, that would be this right here, nice large mouth. Okay, and you want to leave a tail that's at least a good 1 circumference around the loom that you're working on. Okay, so I'm going to thread that. Oh, my nail is trying to take over. There we go. We're going to thread that through. All right, then as you can see, we're right here. What I usually do is I come around the back of the first one. Okay, and we're going to skip this first one, and we're going to go to the second one here, and we're going to go from the bottom up. We always go from top to bottom, and then, or excuse me, from bottom to top and then top to bottom. So for this one here, And you just got to watch because this yarn tries to take over in the beginning for the first one. Okay, you're just going to bring that through and then make sure that that goes behind. There you go. So that way it gives you 2 on this one and you still have 2 on that one. All right. So from here, what we're going to do is go back to this first one. And because we went from bottom to top, now we go from top to bottom. Okay. There we go. We skip this one and now we go to this one. Then we go bottom, top. Okay. Come back to this one. Top to bottom. And just keep doing that all the way across until it's complete. So meet me back here when you're all the way on this side. All right, so as you can see, I'm just about to do the last 2. So bottom to the top and then top to bottom. And then what I do right here is I do bottom to top again, and then I knot it off. I usually pull it off of there. So I have a nice, tight, clean knot. And just tug on it a little bit, okay? And then you can grab, and keep it threaded for now on the needle. All you gotta do is slip them all off your loom. And again, this is the same exact bind off I do on my dragon tail and on the potato chip scarf as well. It just makes it really easy. All right. Okay. Let's take the loom out of here. And if it does look like a little bit of a loop right here, it's fine. Just take your needle and what you do is just tighten it up a little bit. Come on. There you go. And just tug on it through the loops, and they will smooth out. There we go. There you go. And now for what I like to do with the tail, rather than just cut it right here and then you're left with this just ugly looking knot, I usually leave about 4 or 5 inches for the tail, and then I snip and get rid of this little bit here, and then I just I kind of weave it into it so that way it doesn't look like an ugly little knot. It doesn't matter which way you go to loom it in, to stitch it in. Whatever works for you. You can go in any direction, really. I just do it in various places just so it camouflages the tail. And then you can cut it off and have a nice clean edge. Okay. There you go. And grab my scissors. I pull it just a little snug before I cut. Then I straighten it, and there you go. Okay. And that's it. That's how easy it is. So just be patient. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free, drop me a line. The email is in the information, as well as a link to the written pattern, if you would like that as well. That's in there as well. And feel free to join my Facebook group, Love to Loom, and we have lots of helpful people in there. If you have any questions whatsoever, we'll be more than happy to help you out. All right, gang, thanks for allowing me to come into your home and help you again. And it was great showing you something new. Happy looming, everybody.